What is going on, guys? It is your boy Gamersgoon here today to give you your AEW Double or Nothing review. The show was last night, and I'm not gonna lie to you today. I don't know if it was worth the $50 price tag that came along with the show. I don't know. There's a lot about this card that just felt a little underwhelming. I don't know if it was because there was no crowd there or what, but it was a very solid show. But I don't know if it was $50 worth of solid show. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like this was the best show, because we've seen better. We've seen better from AEW. And it definitely is questionable whether or not it was worth the $50 price tag that came along with it. So we have, right at the beginning, we have the AEW buy-in match. This is a match that people were liking. It was Private Party versus the Best Friends. Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn versus Chuck Taylor and Trent. To determine the number one contender for the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. This match to me was sloppy. There was too many botches in it. The Private Party, you could tell, they had a little bit of ring rust. I know the Private Party, once they get back in the flow of things, will be great. But time away from the ring definitely hurt the Private Party here. They were messing up easy moves I've seen them do hundreds of times. We've seen them do plenty of these moves, and they just were slow to get to their spots. They weren't doing it the most efficient way. The Private Party were struggling at times. And it wasn't like it made sense because Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, or just Trent, are big guys and you might struggle to pick them up here and there. They're normal size wrestlers. There should have been no excuses here in this match. I thought this match was a match that would be very good, because both the Best Friends and the Private Party are capable of a whole lot better than what they did last night. Unfortunately, the ring rust kind of left a damper in the match. It did go 15 minutes, but I don't think it was as good of a match as people are making it out to be. It was okay, outside of the fact that you could tell there was some obvious ring rust. And it just didn't feel the same with Private Party. They just fell off, and they didn't settle well with me. I wasn't a personal fan. This wasn't one of my favorite matches of the night. I wasn't praising this match as I did some of the other ones. And this match just didn't really sit that well with me. So if it was your cup of coffee, great, but I could not get past all the botches. I couldn't get past just the obvious ring rust that the Private Party had. Nothing against the Private Party. I know when they do get back in the flow of things, they'll be great. We've seen them in great matches. I really do think they'll be back there eventually, but last night was not their best night for the Private Party. Next, we have the beginning of the show. We have the Casino Ladder match for the AEW World Championship match in the future. This was chaotic. It was chaotic, and I did like it. This is the kind of match that I do like, because it's over the top, but it's not too stupid. We had Darby Allin, Colt Cabana, Orange Cassidy, Joey Janela, Scorpio Sky, Kip Sabian, Frankie Kazarian, and a Luchasaurus. And then obviously we had TBA, who ended up winning the whole thing. We got Brian Cage making his long-awaited AEW debut. This match was okay. I think this match would have been a whole lot better if we had a different outcome. Because we had Darby Allin. He had some big moments. Darby Allin took one spot that I thought he broke his neck. Brian Cage put him on a ladder, and then he like put the ladder above his head, threw Darby Allin and the ladder into another ladder. Darby Allin's neck looked like it hit the other ladder. Looked ridiculous. Colt Cabana here, he had a little interesting spot when he first came in with Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy was trying to climb a ladder, but he didn't know how to set the ladder up. So Cabana was just like looking and like kind of making fun of the fact that Orange Cassidy didn't know what he was doing. And then he takes a little cheap shot at Orange Cassidy, throws him out of the ring, and Colt Cabana thinks he's going to win, but he doesn't win. Orange Cassidy also, at one point, I thought he was going to win. At one point, they had him on the back of Brian Cage, and I thought Brian Cage was going to get up there, and Orange Cassidy was just going to steal it away. That had been a hilarious moment. Orange Cassidy, he had basically, I don't know, which team was it? It might have been Luchasaurus. I think it was probably Luchasaurus here. It'd be Kip Sabian. Either way, he had to have the best friends come on down to take out, would it have been Marco? I don't remember. I really don't remember. The match wasn't anything too spectacular that I would just not forget it. But they came on down and kind of took out them, and that opened the door for Brian Cage. Brian Cage walks up uncontested. This man, day one, comes in and gets a title opportunity. By the way, Brian Cage did come out with Tazz. I know I'd probably get crucified if I didn't mention that part. I don't understand why Brian Cage won here. Brian Cage is not anybody that I think can come in and make an immediate impact in terms of like ratings or anything like that. And I would think you would want to focus on building some of these stars that you already have instead of building a new guy. Because something about AEW giving a title opportunity to somebody that's day one over some of these guys that have been there, doing dark matches, doing dynamite matches for like the past year, doesn't settle well with me because they pride their whole selves on being different. And I think that is something that definitely is not different. Just giving a guy a title opportunity because of where he came from and how big he was over there. I don't know if that was the right move with Brian Cage. It definitely felt anticlimactic. We all thought it was going to be like this great moment to cap off a great match. It was a good match, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the night, the moment just fell flat on his face. I didn't get the, well, that's the guy moment. It just didn't feel the same. I personally thought that's what killed this match for me, is just, I don't think Brian Cage is the right guy at this time. You have a guy that, yes, a lot of your fan base is going to know, but the casual fans, they probably don't know a Brian Cage coming from Impact, coming from wherever, Lucha Underground. You probably don't know much about Brian Cage. You probably don't know too much. And I don't know if that's the brightest idea. I don't know if it is. But it was an interesting match. If you like chaotic, it was for you. Because there was a lot of chaotic moments in the match. It was decent. It was decent. And then we had to get into I'm gonna probably go off on a limb and say this is one of the better this match, I said at the time, was, so far, this match looks like it could be match of the night. At the end of the night, I think it probably held up into the top 3. It was a very good match here, and it was MJF versus Jungleboy showcase of the two younger talents in AEW. A lot of this was very technical early between MJF and Jungleboy. Then we started to see some athleticism that both men have. And you could tell that they really want to invest themselves in Jungleboy. They really do think Jungleboy is going to be a future asset to this company, because Jungleboy came this close to beating MJF a few different occasions. Jungleboy will have his day of reckoning. It is not going to be today, and it's not going to be tomorrow, but it will come eventually, and it's not going to be against MJF, but Jungleboy will have his moment in the solos division. He will become a champion one day. The day might be a little bit away, but if you can watch this MJF versus Jungleboy match and look me in the eye and tell me that you don't think Jungleboy is world championship material, I'm going to tell you you're high. Jungleboy and MJF both are world championship material. These are two guys that MJF's been... There's been things going around about MJF where all he can do is talk. Jungleboy gave MJF his best match by far, and it's not even close. That's way better than what he did with Cody. Way better in terms of what happened in the middle of that ring. Jungleboy gave MJF his best match. That makes Jungleboy look great. That makes MJF look like $1 million like he already is. Very solid job from Jungleboy. MJF, what else is there to say about him? One of the fastest rising heels in all of professional wrestling. He will, and when I say it, I mean it, he will be the world champion before the end of 2020. It will happen. Probably at All Out. Maybe not. But MJF, very, very good match here. MJF's best match by far. He's not just a mouthpiece. The man can go in the ring, and he proved it last night. Very solid job from MJF. Next, we have MJF's former friend, Cody, versus Lance Archer. Obviously, Arn Anderson coming out with Cody, and Jake Roberts coming out with Lance Archer. We had Mike Tyson out there also, and this was a good match. I don't know if it was everything it lived up to, or that they hyped it up to be. I don't think it lived up to that. I really think at the end of the night here, I don't know what you do with Lance Archer. I don't. And yes, Cody needed this victory. He did. But my question is, at what point is the fan base gonna get mad enough? Because Cody, he beat Shawn Spears. He beat Lance Archer, two of the guys that were on a good path to be top guys in AEW. What is the follow-up with Lance Archer? Lance Archer needs to have a follow-up if this is going to be the case with Cody. Lance Archer needs to use this as a term to motivate himself to just absolutely go ballistic on everybody in the roster. Shawn Spears didn't do that when he lost to Cody. You can't let this be another scenario where it's just another guy fed to Cody. Lance Archer is good. Lance Archer is great. Lance Archer put on a good match here with Cody. But you can't let Lance Archer go away. You gotta keep Lance Archer relevant. He can't go on and face Moxley. That's out of the scenario. He was at the mid-card level and he could not beat him. You don't move him on to the main event scene. He's got to go back down. He's got to get another mid-card opportunity maybe. Maybe he has to work his way back up through the actual rankings in order to fight the world champion. It doesn't matter. He doesn't go after the world title now. He's got to go back, and he's got to get back on the roll that he was on before Cody. Cody winning this match could be very good, but you also have to play your cards right when you have Lance Archer lose this match. I like the idea of Cody winning, but your follow-up has to be there. if that is the case. You cannot let this be a scenario where Lance Archer goes and does a lot of nothing. It just can't happen like that. I'm gonna say this was probably the best storytelling match of the night. There's a lot of story. There's a lot of innuendos. You had the snake being teased. You had Jake Roberts come on out with the snake, and then Mike Tyson looks up, and you have Cody hitting his brother's moves. You have Cody hitting his father's, where he does the punch, and then that punch. It was an interesting little match. It was fun. But it also at times didn't make sense, to me at least. We have Jake Roberts interfering in this match, the entirety of this match. But Arn Anderson interferes for one moment. He goes and helps Cody make Lance Archer fall. Lance Archer was on the ropes, and Arn Anderson knocks him down. The ref doesn't see it, and then from the back, another ref comes running out. I like the idea here of the ref coming out saying, you know what, I saw that happen. I do. I like the intention behind it. The only problem is, why did he see what Arn Anderson did, but he never mentioned what Jake Roberts was doing. Jake Roberts was legitimately getting involved and actively just trying to be a pest during this match, and not a thing was said about Jake Roberts. Why does it have to be just the babyface? I like the idea, but if you're gonna do that, you gotta have Jake Roberts play no role. He's just gotta sit there. He's gotta have no means to be ejected. But the way Jake Roberts was during that match, he definitely should have been ejected along with Arn Anderson. If you wanted to do that way, you should have just had Roberts sit in there, and then while that ref came out, maybe he helps hit a cheap move on Cody. But the way that just panned out didn't sit well with me. It felt very weird. But at the end of the night, it was a decent match. Cody finally got his championship, so you don't have to worry about that, because he will be holding that championship for a very decent amount of time. I think it's probably the best move, since he is the biggest name, really, that you guys got outside of Jericho, so it makes sense, but you gotta follow up with Lance Archer. You can't just let Lance Archer be another case of he had a big match with Cody and then he did a whole lot of nothing. You gotta follow up with Lance Archer. He has all the talent in the world. He has a good gimmick for it. I want to see Lance Archer back near the middle of the mid card scene. I want to see him fighting Cody Rhodes once again, eventually. Not now, but in 2-3 months, I would revisit the topic. Next, we have Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. Penelope Ford obviously replacing Britt Baker, who, as of last night, we are informed that she has an ACL, MCL. She tore something. I don't exactly know what they called it. She tore something. We don't know a timetable. She will be disclosing that on Dynamite next week. Hopefully it's not too long for Britt Baker, but it's looking bad. And this match as a replacement could have been really good. Penelope Ford, Chris Statlander, two very athletic women. But at the end of the night, it got 5 minutes worth of TV time. It was a decent 5-minute match. Both women got in what they needed to get in. I didn't really like Kip Sabian coming out a little overdressed with all the... He had both knees taped up. He had his waist taped up. He had his shoulders taped up. I was like, Kip, I would understand if you were the one that got thrown from with the ladder into another ladder, but Kip, what are you doing, man? But Chris Statlander picked up this victory. Chris Statlander I think is probably going to be the next in line for the women's championship. Once we do have another women's championship match, Penelope Ford, I think, could finally get to a spot where she'll be in contention for that in a few. I'd probably say 2 to 3 months. I think that Penelope Ford could finally get to the spot where she might be able to challenge for the AEW Women's Championship. I don't know. I don't think she will win the AEW Women's Championship anytime soon, but I do think she will definitely be in a position where she'll have a match for the Women's Championship. Penelope Ford, very solid in ring, but at the end of the day, Chris Statlander is the one that's gonna have to win here, and she did win. And it didn't blow anybody away just because it was only given 5 minutes. If it was given longer time, it probably could have been very good. Next, we had probably the biggest embarrassment on this match, or on this card. This was horrible. And it was Dustin Rhodes versus Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears came out kind of antagonizing Dustin Rhodes, making fun of the fact that he wasn't there. Ref Aubrey Edwards started counting, and then Brandy comes out. And I thought for a second Brandy was gonna just try to fight Shawn Spears or something, But then Dustin came in front of the camera behind Shawn Spears, and this was just a cluster. It really was. No, they don't plan on doing anything with Shawn Spears. They don't. This man had Dustin pull his tights off. Then he pulled his underwear down and started spanking him. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I'm paying $50 to see that. We could get that free somewhere else. We don't need that on my wrestling show. That was ridiculous. And I know some of these people might have liked it. Me, I hated it. I hated it with everything in my blood. I hated every moment of it. I hated it. It was way too over the top for me. It was way too... I don't want to talk about this match anymore. Dustin Rhodes won against Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears, I don't know how people think that he's relevant in AEW. That's a burial. That is a burial. I don't know who he made mad, but that was a horrible look on Shawn Spears. Absolutely horrible. I hated that. Next, we had a very good match, and I did not think this match was going to be as good as it actually ended up being. It was between Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida, the no disqualification, no count match for the AEW Women's World Championship. I don't think any of us really thought that this could be a match of the night candidate. But at the end of the night, it did end up being that. And that's a testament to what Hikaru Shida can do in the ring. That's also a little bit of a jab at what the rest of the show could have been. I think Shida is really good. Obviously, Shida is one of the better, if not the best, in that women's division in terms of bell to bell. Nyla Rose, she's a decent beast of a character to have in that role. I had a feeling after the beginning of this match where Nyla was just going in on Hikaru Shida. She was using the kendo stick. She tried to introduce a table. She was just giving Hikaru Shida a beating early. I had a feeling that Hikaru Shida was going to finally persevere. And Hikaru Shida did. Hikaru Shida, by any means necessary to win that match, she used the kendo stick, she went with a running knee, and she pinned Nyla Rose in the middle of the ring, and Hikaru Shida picked up her first women's championship in AEW. I would have loved to see this moment with the crowd. Hikaru Shida put on a good, very good, very, very good match here with Nyla. Probably Nyla's best match. And Hagar's been built up for the last few months. I think this probably would have got a very good reaction with the crowd. But at the end of the night, this was probably the best moment, the feel-good moment of the show. Very solid for Hikaru Shida to win here. And I really did enjoy that match. So, very good stuff from Shida and Nyla. Then we had the AEW World Championship match, Mr. Brody Lee versus Mr. Jon Moxley. This was also a very solid match. I'm more so surprised here that we didn't see any of the minions or Stuart Grayson or Evil Uno come in to the picture here with Jon Moxley and Brody Lee. But at the end of the day, they did two things in this match that I really appreciated. They booked Brody Lee to look strong. He kicked out of one of the more protected finishers, the paradigm shift, in 1 second after being put through the stage of it. And then what does he do? He also comes out, eats another paradigm shift, and kicks out at 2. They protected Brody Lee. They made him look like a beast. Brody Lee is going to remain in that main event picture. That's great. And then the second thing I really enjoyed, they did not have Brody Lee pinned nor submitted. They had him lose because of technical submission, the ref stoppage, because he thought he passed out. That is the easiest way to have a second match. The easiest way to have a second match. And I don't think the second match will be next pay-per-view. It will be a while. But Brody Lee did not lose under his own chances here. He didn't give up. He didn't take the pin. He did not give up and tap out. There will be another match between Moxley and Brody. And I can't wait for it. This was a very solid one, but it left the door open for part 2. And that is why I thought that this match was very, very good. Jon Moxley, still your AEW World Champion. And last, and certainly not least, we have the Stadium Stampede match, 34 minutes long. Jericho said that this was the best thing he's ever taken part of. And I know why. That was the most fun match I've seen in a very long time. I can't remember having this much fun in a pro wrestling match. For 34 minutes, I was able to sit there and forget about everything going on around the world. I was able to sit there and just crack a smile every 3 seconds when they did something different, right? The Elite and the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle, I loved their entrance. They came out in the football jerseys, kind of mocking the fact that they're in the Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium. I'm a football guy, so I did like that. It was real fun from Jericho to come out. And then we had the Elite and Matt Hardy come out, and Hangman did not come out with them. And we're all looking around wondering where Hangman might be. Well, Hangman decided he's going to take his horse on into the TIA Bank Stadium, and he's going to run over some Sammy Guevara. That's what Hangman was thinking. I said it last night, and I'll say it again. Sammy Guevara is a national treasure, man. This guy, he's done some of the best stuff of AEW, and it's all had his stamp on it. Sammy Guevara running away from the horse, funny moment. Kind of like going back at the fact that Sammy Guevara just gets hit by random objects that are running at him or driving at him. And then Sammy Guevara runs away, finally gets back into the actual ring. He starts fighting with them. Hangman's marching around with his horse just in the stadium, trying to find Guevara. He thinks he might be in the concession stands. But Hangman's like, you know what, forget this. I'm going to go to the bar and get me some drinks. I'm going to go get some whiskey. It was great. And then later in the show, I'm going to stick with Hangman because it just went all over the place. It was really chaotic. It was something I liked. Hangman sitting in the bar. You got Jake Hager searching for Hangman. He finds him in the bar. And for a minute, I thought they were both just going to sit there and drink together for the rest of the show. Hangman's like, well, did you come for a drink or did you come for a fight? He passes Hagar some whiskey. And Hagar's like, well, how about both? And then they started fighting. Hagar takes Hangman, and there's like a bunch of shot glasses, and there was some nachos on the table, or on the bar. He takes Hangman and drags him across the bar table. Then he puts him through another table. Really funny. Just taking jabs at the fact that Hangman likes his beer, likes his alcohol, and that was funny. That is just something that put a smile on my face. And then we have the rest of the Elite fighting all around the arena. We have Santana and Ortiz, Pride and Powerful. We have them, I think it was with Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy. It was probably Kenny Omega. But they took out Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy. I said it, and I said it to my dad right before they announced, when they said it on commentary. It was the best moment. I was like, wait a minute. That pool? Water. Lake of Reincarnation. Matt Hardy's going to change. And then they throw Matt Hardy into the pool, and we see about 50 different shades of Matt Hardy. Great. Matt Hardy's brilliant. He goes off his old broken gimmick. He kind of feels like the WWE vibe. He's sitting there underwater pointing at the cameras. Matt Hardy is a national treasure himself too. It was just a feel good thing there with Matt Hardy. Very nostalgic there. From Matt Hardy there in the pool of reincarnation. From that, and then Matt Hardy, he goes on, and he finally gets out of that situation, and he decides, you know what? What do I do here now, right? I'm going to put Ortiz in a wheelchair. I'm gonna duct tape him to that wheelchair, so he can't do anything. And I'm gonna take Santana, and I'm gonna throw him into a ice container. You know those ice containers you go out at the gas station, grab a bag of ice, and then go back for like a picnic or something? That's exactly what he threw him in. Then he puts a broom so that Santana can't get out of the ice container. That would have to suck. That would make me so mad, just sitting in an ice container. Ooh, you wouldn't be able to pay me enough. I hate the cold. It's just, ooh. And then we pay him back to the ring, or to the field. After, because Sammy has been left at, actually we did not pay him back to the field. Did we pay him back to the field here or not? I don't remember. But we did have a moment where the Young Bucks had Matt Jackson, I believe it was. I think it was Matt Jackson. He climbed up onto the field goal post, and he jumped off onto Sammy Guevara and Jericho. We had Jericho with, I believe it was Matt Jackson. It might have been Nick. I don't remember if he had the tape on his ribs or not. If it was Matt, but Jericho. He was this close to winning in the field. He went for the pin. Aubrey Edwards, 1, 2. It was like 2.5 count. Jericho was like, that was 3. And she was like, no, that was 2. He was like, no, 3. And then she was like, no, it was 2. Jericho challenges the play. Jericho was like, I challenge the play. She was like, you challenge. They go into the review booth. You can hear the audio over while they're replaying it. They say, no, that's 2, Jericho. No, that is 3. And then they come out of the review booth. The play on the field stands. Jericho looks at Aubrey and says, you're a shitty ref. Then continues. Jericho, Jericho, he's the best. He is the best. Unfortunately for Jericho, the Inner Circle did not get this victory. Why didn't they get this victory? Because of one man. Sammy Guevara was laying in the field. The water started spraying on Sammy Guevara. He wakes up. He thinks he won. He's the last man he can see in the distance. Nobody's on the field. Sammy Guevara thinks he's the last man standing. He's celebrating his victory. He's saying, "We did it. We did it. We did it. I won the match for us. I'm the last guy standing." The problem is, you hear it off in the distance. You hear the start of the golf cart. Sammy Guevara looks behind him. He sees the golf cart. Sammy Guevara runs the length of the field into the crowd, into the stadium. You have Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega both chase him down. And then you have them fight into the stadium, or into the stands. You got Sammy Guevara losing this match. I don't remember which one. It was probably Matt Hardy. It might have been Kenny. But somebody put Sammy Guevara through. They were standing on like where the fans sit, and there was like a platform underneath them. He threw him through it. Aubrey Edwards looks over, sees that Sammy Guevara is currently being pinned. 1, 2, 3, the Elite and Matt Hardy win. It was a cluster. It was one where you could sit back and you can just laugh. You could have a good time. It was something that was really fun. At the end of the night, that was probably the most fun I've ever had. Watching an AEW show, that was probably the most fun I've had in a very long time watching wrestling. Very solid match here. I know exactly why Jericho said that's the best thing he's ever been a part of. It's because we didn't have to worry about the bell to bell. We just had fun. For 34 minutes, we had fun in pro wrestling. That is how you have fun. I really did enjoy that Stadium Stampede match, and I really hope you guys did enjoy the Double or Nothing card yourselves. Like I said, I don't know if it was $50 worth of fun and decent matches here and there, but at the end of the night, this was a very solid pay-per-view. The only thing that's really negative on it is I don't know if it was $50 solid. It definitely, if it was one of the free pay-per-views, would be a very good, probably top 5 pay-per-view of the year. But the only thing I have against it is you're paying $50. I probably think that this show could have been really good with a crowd. It just, at the end of the night, it didn't feel as important. And that's nothing against them. Anyways, I'm going to head on now. Make sure you go follow the Twitter at GamersGoonYT. Make sure you sub to this channel. Make sure you share and like this video. Make sure you ring that bell for all post notifications. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. I'm out.